You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another tier list video. This was originally one that I started doing when I did the new version of the Friday the 13th tier list video, and that was like a month ago or something. And it crashed when I did it, so then I just did the Friday the 13th one when I started it up again. But now, I'm going to go ahead and do this one again. And that's the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. There's only 7 movies here. Sorry, there's 9 movies. I don't know why I said 7. There's 9. And we're just going to go ahead and go in order. Nightmare on Elm Street 1, this is the one that started it all. Obviously, that's going in S tier. Nightmare on Elm Street 1 is one of the best slashers of all time. But it's not my favorite of the series, or it's close. I don't know, I go back and forth a lot. Like, actually ranking them by numbers is actually pretty difficult. And there's not a single one, well, there is a single one of these movies that I hate. And you'll see in a minute. But for the most part, I like these. In fact, when I did the original tier list years ago, my ranking was entirely different because I used to have very different opinions on Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which this time is also going in S tier. And I'm actually putting it above the first one this time. I don't know if I actually like it more than the first one. It's really tough, honestly. My favorite used to be 4. And now I think it might be 2, honestly. It's funny, because I used to hate 2, but when I rewatched it again with Corbin last time, and I did the whole video about it, I was wrong about Nightmare on Elm Street 2. It's actually a really fucking good movie. It's very unique from the other sequels, because, it's Freddy possessing someone rather than attacking them in their dreams. And I think that's really cool. Now, you can go for the commentary on whether or not it's supposed to represent if the character's fucking gay. I don't interpret that way. I interpret it more as like a shadow self kind of thing, like a Jungian, Freudian type thing. Now, that said, you could make the argument with some of the shit, and I don't know what the directors said some dumb shit, I think, in recent years. I don't remember. But regardless, if it was a commentary on being gay, then it's an anti-gay movie, because if Freddy Krueger represents being gay, then that's obviously not a good thing. But nevertheless, that's not my interpretation. The teacher's absolutely gay and wanted to fuck him, but I don't think the main character's gay. Now, hot take. Dream Warriors is going to go in B tier. Now, I know what you're thinking. Dream Warriors is like the iconic one. And, I used to be right up there with you saying, oh yeah, Dream Warriors is so good. I like Dream Warriors. I like it a lot. It is a good follow-up. It does have Nancy in it again from the first movie. That's all it has going for it. Like, it's unique. It's got, like, the superhero powers. I just don't... It's interesting to me, because some people will point to some of the other sequels and say they detract from the horror of it. But literally, like, the fucking characters getting superpowers to fight Freddy is, like, goofy as hell. Which, granted, I love the goofier aspects of this series. I still love this movie a lot, and maybe I'm being a little harsh putting it in B tier. But I think I'm doing that almost in a reactionary way to how, like, overly popular this movie is. I think it's pretty overrated. We might even bump it. I think we're going to bump it up to A tier. I think B tier is just me being petty, to be perfectly honest, because I do really like this movie. It does have some iconic lines, some iconic scenes, welcome to prime time, bitch. So I don't think I can in good conscience actually put it in B tier, now that I think about it. But I will be putting the Dream Master above it in A tier. As I said, Dream Master, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, was initially my favorite years ago. I think that it's a really good movie. I think that it's underrated. I really liked the way that, like, some of the kills were really cool. Like the fucking soul pizza, or like the waterbed kill. How's this for a wet dream, right? It was also the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie I actually saw, not counting Freddy vs. Jason. So that's definitely probably a factor, is that it was the first one I saw. And when I originally watched it, funny enough, I actually watched it in parts on YouTube. And one of the parts was muted. So it was a really weird experience the first time I saw it. Now, 5. 5 I'm going to put in B tier. I do like 5. But it is definitely one that is not like it's not the best one, but it is a good enough movie. I do like it. And it also arguably has a pro-life message, which I can get behind. Now, I heard Dr. Wolfula have like a really retarded cringe take where he tried to say that it was actually a pro-choice message. Where, no, she's literally trying to save her unborn baby from Freddy. And he's like, oh, you see, it's pro-choice because she's choosing to save the baby. And it's like, what kind of fucking cope is that? But no, I like it, like, again, whether or not it's meant to be pro-life or pro-choice is neither here nor there, because I don't know that that was even the director's intention at all to even have a commentary on that. It is just Freddy attaching itself to her unborn baby, so there's connotations with that, because she's trying to save the baby. I think it makes much more sense to interpret it as pro-life. Now, you could argue that's my own bias, and I don't care, because I'm right on this. Anyway, Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. This is going in C tier. I'll say this. When I was younger, I was a huge, huge fan of Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. It has the Nintendo kill. He's got, like, the power glove. He's like, now I'm playing with power, right? That was fun. None of the kills are especially gory or even that memorable other than, like, the, Is it this one or is it 5? Yeah, I think the other kill I was thinking... I was going to give it credit for the comic book kill, but I think that's actually 5. You know, the intro sequence was fun, you know, with the bus and the Wicked Witch and stuff like that. And I've heard some people complain about, like, the familial thing with, like, Amanda Kruger and stuff. I don't think that's a fair complaint. I think that's fine. It's a fine movie. Like, it's definitely a lesser one. It has some moments here and there. I do still like it, but it's definitely no masterpiece. Next up, we got Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This is going in S tier as well. I fucking love New Nightmare. New Nightmare is a fucking classic. It only has, like, 2 kills in it. But it's really good at having the suspense and horror in it. And it, you know, takes a meta route where it's the actual actors getting attacked by the character, which I think is pretty cool. Like, that could easily be cringe, but I think they did it in a really good way. They did something very similar to what Seed of Chucky did, only without the, like, ridiculousness of Seed of Chucky. It's a lot darker and more sinister than a lot of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and I think it does kind of recapture the horror that maybe some of the other sequels were lacking. So, New Nightmare's great. Freddy vs. Jason. This is going at the top of A tier, I think. I love Freddy vs. Jason. I think it's a great movie. It's definitely got its flaws. The pacing isn't exactly perfect. There's some bullshit in it, for sure. Like Jason now being, like, terrified of water, which was never really a thing in most of the movies. The concept of, you know, water versus fire, though, thematically, I do think does work. So nevertheless, I think it's great. It's one of my favorite Versus movies, and it does kind of the opposite of what a lot of the old Versus movies do, where, you know, or not old ones, sorry, excuse me, what the new ones do, because there's new Versus movies where the creatures or whatever will start out against each other, but then team up. This does the opposite, where they start out teamed up because Freddy brings Jason back to, like, get fear going in Elm Street. Now, how did he get the fucking power to do that? How did he get the power to go through hell and do... I don't know. Don't fucking worry about it. That's all. I mean, Freddy was in hell, I guess. Jason was also in hell. Jason's resurrected before, so I guess that's the logic behind it. I don't know. The way Freddy resurrects in each movie is, different for each movie. So, you know, doesn't really fucking matter. Now, Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I'm going to be honest. I am going to create a tier below, and then another tier below that. Even though it's literally the last one, you might be like, why don't you just put it in D tier? That does not signify my feelings enough for this movie. So we got F and Super F. And then this is going in Super F. Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, is really, really fucking bad. I liked it the first time I saw it. But keep in mind, at that point, I had only seen Freddy vs. Jason and 4, I think. And then we got the remake, and I watched it. And I was also a lot younger and a lot less critical. But man, is this movie fucking bad. It just kind of, like, tries to recreate the concept, of the first one. And then they have, like, basically Nancy, but, like, with a different last name, I think. That's, like, the only through-line character that's, like, a recreation of the first one. And it does reuse a lot of, like, one-liners from Freddy from the sequels in, like, really, like, unfitting ways. Like, they reuse the, "How's this for a wet dream?" Which, is, like, a funny line in 4. But here they're trying to make it, like, sinister and creepy. And so, like, the stairs are all covered in blood, and he's like, "How's this for a wet dream?" And there's, like, that line where he's like, "Why are you screaming? I haven't even cut you yet." Which I remember when I was younger, I thought that was fucking awesome. Not so much now. I will say, the guy in it, what's his name? Jack Earl Haley. He's a serviceable enough Freddy. Although, I think, didn't he hate Freddy Krueger? Like, didn't they specifically pick someone who hated Freddy Krueger to play him? I think there was something like that. There's also, like, they went with the original script line where Freddy was just a pedophile rather than a child murderer. And it's really uncomfortable the way it's portrayed. Now, you could argue how unsettling and how uncomfortable it is adds to it. But it's really weird because they also do this subplot where the movie tries to make you think that Freddy might have been an innocent man that these kids framed. And then that's why he came back, is to get revenge. And it's pretty fucking obvious that that's not what the case was, because later on it's revealed, no, he just wanted revenge because they told, not because he was innocent, because he fucking wasn't. I think that aspect, it's just really hard to sell that in a movie, especially with a character like Freddy Krueger, who's one that's, in the sequels at the very least, kind of likable, even though he's a fucking killer. Like, I know it's a weird thing, because he is still fucking killing teenagers. He's still an evil piece of shit. And I think that's part of what's enjoyable about him in the other movies, is that Freddy's so fucking pure evil. There's no redeeming qualities about him. But the way they portray it in this... Because I'll tell you this. There's an implication in the other movies that he still did other stuff besides kill them. It's never outright stated... And I think it's a lot better that it's never outright stated in the other ones, because there's some freaky shit he does. Like, he, like, licks the pictures of his victims in Freddy vs. Jason, or, like, how he sticks his tongue through the phone at Nancy in the first one. It's not like the elements weren't at least subtly hinted at in the other movies, but with this one being so blatant and in your face, it just comes off as really gross and uncomfortable. Which, I suppose, to some people, that might be something that works since it's a horror movie. But it was a really weird choice with Freddy. And even though Jackie Earle Haley is a decent enough Freddy, he's no Robert Englund. That's another thing, is Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger. It's really tough to try and get someone else to be Freddy Krueger. But yeah, that's my rankings of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Toodles!